Okay. Hello, internet. Give me a second here. I'm kind of trying to figure this out. Okay. So, I've been saying for months that I was going to do my top 5 games for 2018, 2019. So, I'm finally getting around to doing that. So, this video is 2018. Um, and at the end of the video, I'll put the whole links on the thing that you click to go to the previous years. So, it'll be all like. I just looked this up the other day, but I think it's like from 2012 or 2013 I started doing these. So, I thought I was like going back, and I looked at like at least two of them. I didn't look at all of them because it's like that's too many. So I just needed to like get reference for what I was doing. But it's been a while since I've played most of these, so I don't really have a lot on all of them to really talk at length of like why they're great or like. I don't even remember like at the time what I thought about them to like you know put them on these lists, but I do know I didn't enjoy them, and that they're like the most, or the games I enjoyed the most that year when I played them. So probably kind of short and not as in depth as the other ones, but it's whatever. So also another thing is like it's not a top five. It's really just like 5 things that are like tied, like 5 things that are tied for first place, or a 5-way tie for first place, if that makes sense. So it's just 5 number ones. Think of it like that. But yeah, that's the intro, and then like I said at the end, I'll have all the ones from the past, and I think I'll try to put the link to the 2019 one as well on here. But actually, I won't do that because it'll be like an order at the end when you get to like the other one, and it'll like have anyway. Because I don't think the other ones are on a. I mean, they're not on a separate playlist. They're on like a specific playlist. So I don't. If I put them on another playlist, I think it like kind of messes up whatever I have going on. But yeah, I'm not talking about games right now. So let me. Geez. Okay, 2 minutes in. All right. So let's start. So first game would be from for 2018 would be Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man. It was a really good open world game. I'm actually replaying it right now, and I forgot how good it was. Like the combat, the mechanics, just like the gameplay when you're just swinging around the city, just zipping around. Like it's really good. It looks amazing. Just very smooth. And yeah, fun time. Good, nice, good interpretation or adaptation of that storyline and that character. That I enjoyed it. I I kind of can't remember a lot of the like major things though, and I didn't play all the DLC, but I do remember thoroughly enjoying it, and it was a fun time. Let's see. Next game on here, Monster Hunter World, easily one of the best games of this console generation, in my opinion, just because it's man. Where do you even begin with Monster Hunter World? Like, there's the game. That game is just so good. Like on a mechanic level, and like on a quality of life level, and just just the gameplay is just phenomenal. Cause I don't know how many weapons there are. There's like I feel like there's at least 8. I don't know off the top of my head, but there's like so many different weapon styles, which is basically every different weapon type is a different way to play the game. And then every monster has their own set of armor after you've gotten enough of the materials to make the armor. Man, it's hard to like talk about Monster Hunter without going too deep into it, because like I could talk for like an hour about just Monster Hunter World. So I'm gonna try to just be brief here, but like the only knock I have on the world is storyline. It's a bit it's like not really a game you play for the story. It's more about the gameplay loop, and just like making those builds, making those armor sets, and then like just like as you incrementally get better and better and better, and you're able to just like take on all the different types of monsters, and just like from like just like the basic like Great Jagras and the Zikiyaku, to like the Elder Dragons, and then like soloing Elder Dragons if you can't find a group, where you got like if you want to take it on your by your own, just don't have to worry about trying to find a group and like waiting around for hopefully hoping 3 other people join you on an SOS flare thing. And yeah, just like the whole way that that's integrated to the whole the single player multiplayer, or like just the way it's it's such a good game. And it's just like a really interesting, like fun, romp through that environment that they made. And just like the even the storyline's very basic. I do like the theme of like the whole like circle of life thing that they had going, as far as like the I can't remember what it was called, like the grand. I don't think it was called the grand stream, but like you get there and like you find out that there's like this whole ecosystem situation happening of like monsters that are going through. It's all tied together of like the Rottenvilles where everything basically decays and dies, but then it's like reborn again and it like goes up through the coral reef and just into the ancient forest, and it's really cool. And then like the way that you get to the Elder's Recess and like stuff is very volcanic and just extreme environment. Like there's extreme heat, and, like the things that does to like the monsters and stuff like that, and just I like the way that like all the interplay between that, like the environment and the monsters, and also like yeah, like I said, the ecosystem thing. Like it felt like just a living, breathing environment when you would be on expeditions, uh, and just like when you're hunting the monsters, it's like they're in their own environment. Like the way that they have turf wars and stuff, it's like they're it's like a lived environment that they're just in, and you're just in there tracking them down and hunting them. So I, I could talk for a long time about Monster World, but then and then like when you get to the end game, dude, like it is like perfectly balanced to where it's not too frustrating to like to grind for like stuff that you want to upgrade your gear, and then even then like beyond just upgrading it, like you get like even more enhanced upgrades called augmentations that you can keep improving, keep improving, keep improving, or just like keep you know crafting like multiples and like having different variations, and just it's so good, it's so good. Um, and then I didn't put this on in 2019 for Iceborne, and the reason is because Iceborne kind of broke the balance on the grinding. Because even though I did initially enjoy the guiding lands, it's like I found it as a hindrance. Like the more I played, because you'd have to stop what you were doing, like go to the guiding lands, and then hunt specific monsters for specific drops. It's a whole thing. Like guiding lands. It's like it's so close to being like really amazing. It is really amazing. It's just like it's not. It's like it hits the mark, but it's not the right fit for that game. 100% anyway. It's like 90% there, but then it's also just a bit. It makes it a bit too grindy and too tedious to like get the upgrades for your stuff, to where it's like it kind of make it be less fun with the whole mechanic of the like levels per region. If like each region had to be leveled up and leveled down to change what you could hunt in that zone, it wouldn't be a hindrance. But because of that, it just makes it super annoying when you really need something, but then it only spawns in at like level 5 or 6 or something, or like max level. And if your zone's not that level, you can't summon the monster into hunt it to get the materials. Whereas in World, the base game is better because, well, in my opinion, just from this specific aspect, because you can have like the investigations that you need, or that you get investigations rather, and like you can like go to the investigations and you get like extra award slots for that specific monster, or like that type of monster if it's tempered, or like an elder dragon that's tempered, and you get like extra awards, so you have even more chances to get the thing that you want to get. And then even if you don't get it, eventually you're going to get it, because the RNG is, it's not like, it's not like a once a week drop, like a quasi MMO or an MMO like Destiny or something like World of Warcraft. It's like, it's just you keep doing it and you're going to eventually get the drop that you need. So that's why it's so good. It's just like, even like, that's your thing, is like, I also found myself just like I kept enjoying it. Like if I wasn't getting what I needed, it's like at least I was like getting better, or like I would hunt the monster over and over and then like get better at that monster. So it's very much a like, there's always like a positive reinforcement loop going on when you're like doing something over and over in that game, and there's a lot of repetition, but it's like it always like feeds into you getting better as a monster hunter, or just better in playing the game and stuff. So yeah, I just realized like my camera's on top of the TV and I'm like not making eye contact, so I'm gonna be looking down a lot. So, cause I'm looking at my list, but it's whatever. So I could move it, but I'm not going to. So I probably should, but then it's like I'm not even sure. Like, I mean, I guess there's nothing behind me, so I don't really need to not do that. But it's like I'm not sure if my camera can reach, and I don't want to like mess up the video here in the middle. So yeah. But yeah, man, Monster Hunter World, amazing. Just easily one of the best games of this console generation, and just Capcom did an amazing job with it. And then, even though Iceborne's not in my top five, it's definitely an honorable mention because, or at least it's not in the top five of the year it came out, I should say. It's definitely an honorable mention because like all the enhancements and improvements just take it even more and like over the top, and just like make it just all the just like all the improvements across the board with Iceborne that they did were just like stellar. And then they did drop the ball with Guiding Lands, but like that's the only thing. And like that, it doesn't kill the game. It just in that one specific aspect, it makes it a bit of a annoyance. But since you do so much grinding in that game, it does kind of it does come back to bite it. So yeah, but man, Monster Hunter World, so good, so good. Um, and then I've got God of War next. So I, I man, see the only thing I remember about God of War is like there's just like really epic moments in that game, and there's like these really good fights and boss fights. But I remember like the basic story beats, but it's like I can't remember like anything like like specifically that's like spectacularly like that like blew me away. Like that being said, I didn't give it my game of the year that year because of that. Was like I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the combat, but I felt it was very like as Kratos. Like this isn't like a this is just like an observation. It's not a complaint. But like he's much more like of a brutish, like folkish, like slow paced fighter. And since it came out in the same year as Spider-Man, I really enjoyed that like combat, where it's like much more like fast and fluid and like web slinging. So like if I had to choose between those two, it's like I'd rather play Spider-Man. But it's like not to say that like God of War is not good. It's just a different style and very like like the beat down is like very like slower paced, and like I mean it is more brutal and in your face and stuff. But I'm not saying it bad. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like a different style, which I didn't enjoy as much as Spider-Man. So, but like the relation between Kratos and Atreyu, is it Atreyu or Kratos and his son, whatever. And man, it's hard to talk about that without spoiling it. So, but that was a good journey, a good ride, and just very good experience. And for me in the end, man, I was sucked in. So there's a lot of good moments. And it's just a good journey. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. It's kind of weird because like there is some like stuff in there like with the Norse mythology, but then ultimately it doesn't really go too far into it. So it's kind of like on the or it doesn't feel like it does like a deep dive, I should say, because there's realms that you go to, but you don't go to all the other realms. So there's that too. So. And then the teaser at the end. Well, it's actually not at the end. It's like if you go home after you finish the game, there's like a crazy teaser you get, and it's just man, it just it just like hypes you up for the next one. It's just like a really good, easily one of like the best like sequel hook teases ever. So yeah. Next game I have on here is Batman: The Enemy Within. So even though the game came out in 2017, it concluded in 2018, which is like when for Telltale games is like I always like we'll put them in the year of like whatever the final episode is. So since the final episode was in 2018, it's a 2018 game for me. And there's not really anything else in 2018 I'd put on here, I don't think so. Yeah, that's that. But man, Enemy Within, ah, yeah, it's good stuff because basically it's a Telltale game, so it's like you go through. You have the interactions with all the characters, you have the choices. But then they were doing these new mechanics when Enemy Within came out, where basically each character you had like a relationship with, so like all your choices would like ultimately change your relationship with them. So over the course of the series and the episodes, your relationship changes with the characters, which changes how they feel about you, which changes your like choices that are possible, or just like your interactions, and it has consequences ultimately. And then it gets in this episode, I believe, not this episode. This See, I'm trying to think if it's this episode or if it's because I think in season one at the very end the Joker's introduced, but he's not called the Joker because you're in Arkham and he is like a patient and he like goes by a different name. And then like in season two, you have more interaction with him, and like there's a whole like back and forth there, as far as like how you interact with him alters like how he basically becomes who he becomes in the final episode, I believe. And it's like either vigilante or villain. So I had the vigilante one, which was really cool. It's like it's a very interesting, fun take on the Joker, where he's like trying to be like Batman. I very much enjoyed that. It was a very fun, but tragic, yeah, experience. And then in my specific playthrough, I had like so many crazy things happen at like in like the very end of the final episode. Just like what? So I thoroughly enjoyed that. There's also like a lot of good interactions with like, or not interactions, but like choices that you have to make. I can't remember which episode, but there's like an episode where it's like you have to choose between, I want to say you and Catwoman are like going to get like frozen in this pod thing, and like it's just like a really crazy choice because it's like you're working with Agent Waller from I can't think of the agency, but that lady. And so it's like you don't want to break your cover because you're trying to like have this undercover case that you're working as Bruce Wayne. So it's like you like have this point where you can like out yourself as Batman, I believe, or keep going as Bruce, and it's just like it's really well done. And just like the way that the dynamics of like that, like that on top of everything. There's just so many layers in that one, man. Because like you're undercover, there's a bunch of different villains. I know Harley Quinn's in it, and then like I think Bane's in it too, and just it's so good. It just really good stuff. In the fifth and final game for 2018, which I would say was my game of the year for that year, would be Detroit Become Human, which it's like kind of it's like it's not the same as a Telltale game, but it is. There's a lot of similarities there with the Quantic Dream game and a Telltale game, because it's like it's choices and consequences, and just there's so many choices and like branching paths and a lot of replayability. And then this one's basically like androids, but they're repressed, and then they're trying to like gain their freedom. And there's like a whole thing about it as far as like if you like you're more of a pacifist style or a violent like revolt style. I thought that was neat. And yeah, it just I very much enjoyed it. And like one of the characters, Connor, is just like like the whole I like he's my favorite because it was just I thought the like the whole like android that is like a like I mean I guess it's just like the detective story that they did, so it's like a detective story but you're an android, but then the way it is I and the way it's done I enjoyed it. But yeah, there's like that one, and there's like two other stories, or not stories, but like two other characters. So there's three main characters. There's not just one main protagonist, and then that's like another thing with Quantic Dream is well, I guess except for Beyond Two Souls. Beyond Two Souls, I believe there's only one main antagonist, but like some of the other stuff, they'll have like multiple protagonists you're playing through, and then like at some point all their paths cross, and just like it gets really good. But that's definitely one of the things that happened with Detroit is that happened, and then just I'm just a fan of like sci-fi in general, so it's a really good sci-fi, like cyberpunk futuristic storyline, and just the way that they did the mechanics as far as like your choices. There's so many outcomes. Though it is kind of weird because you can't really get all of the stuff, and you have to kind of replay some of the stuff to get the stuff, or to see everything. So, because there's so much like choices there, and so, like you get a web of all the choices at the very end. And it's always like cool to see like what you did and then like what's possible, and it's like oh okay, so like it makes you want to like go back and replay it, but there's just so much stuff to like go back and replay it. So, and then usually games like that I just play it once to be like okay, well this is what I got as my story, so I haven't actually gone back to replay it, but very much enjoyed it. There's a lot of cool action sequences and things like that. So yeah, those are my top, or rather not top, but my favorite games. That's the name. Because when I was looking these up on my YouTube channel, I'd like keep typing the things as I kept forgot what I was calling them. Yeah, those are my favorite games of 2018. So, Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, God of War, Batman: The Enemy Within, and Detroit Become Human, with Detroit Become Human being my favorite for that year. So that is that, and then I will put the, or I'll try to put the thingy here at the bottom, or I'm sorry, not the bottom, the end of the video with like the thing to all the other ones. And if I can't get that to work, I'll just put the link in the description to like all the previous years. So that is that. So feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share it with your friends or not, that's cool too. And until you see or hear from me again, thanks for watching, and I'm now signing off.